Le linge.
Le linge.
Better? Closer? Closer, yeah, better. Le linge. Le linge.
Le linge.
So try and just get the sound first. Try and, yeah, you had it at first, then you lost it. Bear with me 3 seconds. I'm gonna stick my camera. I'm not gonna stick my camera out. I'm just gonna. I want a recording in my mouth. Oh, I can kind of see myself too.
Oh, I can see it.
I've never looked inside my mouth that way. I'm very self-conscious about this. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever done while teaching a lesson. However, it was extremely effective for helping the student improve her pronunciation, because I'm teaching her French, and one of her main focuses right now is to improve a lot of her vowel sounds specifically, right? And that's kind of where our main focus is. And there are certain sounds in French that my student just could not fully consistently say, and I couldn't figure out how to explain to her what to do in her mouth. So what I did is I took my phone, as you guys saw, I put the light in my mouth, I recorded me saying the sound properly, and then I recorded me saying the sound like she was saying it because I could imitate her. I watched the video and I was like, oh, I could see the difference between what she is doing in her mouth and what I am doing in my mouth. And it was very awkward, it was very bizarre, but it was still amazing. And I was able to explain to her, like, oh, you just need to take this part of your tongue and drop it, and it worked quite well. So, interesting little hack that I'm going to use a heck of a lot more often now for pronunciation. And so what I mean is, instead of, so for example, what we've been doing so far is like, oh, we learn a concept, we practice a concept, we talk about it, etc., right? Which is fine. I know other students of mine, what they've enjoyed is that we've picked some sort of project, and every lesson is basically focused on helping us trying to complete whatever that project is. You're still learning a lot of concepts, but you're learning it in relation to some sort of project or some sort of outcome or goal you're trying to actually accomplish with the lessons. Versus just, hey, we're learning this, then we're learning this, then we're learning this, then we're learning this. Even like, I'll give you an example. I have a student who, it's for French, she's probably slightly less beginner than you are in Spanish, but not by too much. The project we're working on is a muscular dystrophy project, so so it's very complex, and yet we're still learning a lot of basic things through it. So even if your PowerPoint presentations are a little more complex, I think we could likely, maybe I'm wrong, I have to see it first, but likely we can probably do things with it that are basic too, so. It's really important to have a daily focus when you're learning a language. So for example, I have 2 brothers that I was teaching today for French, and really we do an hour a week of French, which is not a lot. It's actually very, very little. I was talking to the mom, and I was asking her, like, hey, what do they do at home for French? Do they watch any TV? Do they listen to music? Like, what do they do? And she's like, oh, nothing really. And so I was telling her, like, hey, I know some shows in French that these 2 actually like based on some previous lessons we've had. I told her I'd send her some links so that the kids can start to incorporate French on a daily basis in a way that's fun for them and engaging and enjoyable. And yeah, it just made me realize that it's super, super important to have a daily focus. Otherwise it's just tough to really, it's tough to build that momentum with the language, right? Really, really hard. So it's something that's extremely important. But what I mean is, like, in words, there's a part of the word that is louder than other parts of the word. So I'll give you an example, right? So if we say, like, let's take the word Calgary. Calgary. 3 syllables, right? I would never say Calgary. I would never say Calgary. That sounds silly. I'd say Calgary. The cal is the loudest part. Now, English is complex because Calgary and Alberta both have 3 syllables. And yet, in English, how do you know that the stress is supposed to fall on the first syllable in Calgary, but the second syllable in Alberta? I don't know. I have no idea how you're supposed to know. Maybe there's a rule that I just don't know, that I haven't taken the time to look into. But all I know is when I thought about this in the past, I go, wow, in English, like, I take a word like alligator. It's not alligator, it's not alligator, it's not alligator, it's alligator. Why? I don't know. But Spanish, it's very consistent where you're supposed to put the stress. It's extremely consistent. Basically the majority of words, the stress is always, the loudest part of the word is always the second last syllable. So for example, if we let's take this, donde está Warren, let's take this one. So let's take, for example, Warren es perezoso. Okay, Warren is lazy, right? In perezoso, we have pe, pre, so. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 syllables. So it's not perezoso, it's not perezoso, it's not perezoso, but perezoso. However, there is one exception that's very consistent, that's all the time. Maybe it wasn't last lesson, or maybe 2 lessons ago, I forget, one of the 2. We talked about how verbs end in ER, IR, or AR. Any verb that is in its ER, AR, or IR form, it's always on the last syllable. So like hablar, it's on the last syllable. It's not hablar, but hablar.